Alright, so today I'm going to do a review on Packet Tracer and all the functions of Packet Tracer. It used to be a lot simpler than it is in the current day, which is actually a good thing. All the stuff they add is awesome, and I wish they had it when I was going through the class, um, such as firewalls. Anyways, before I get off track, what we're going to go over today. So first, you open up this Packet Tracer. I believe this is the newest version of Packet Tracer. And you see all this stuff. I don't know. This is how you save, open stuff, blah, blah, blah. Like most programs, right? Edit. I don't know. You're not going to be using a lot of those a lot of those things. And I'm not going to go over the options and the advanced features. I'm just going to go over everything we see right here, right? So, say we're in Packet Tracer, we want to draw a shape. Look at this thing. We can select color. Let's see. We'll go red. No, that's not red. Um, That's the outline. Alright, so the fill color's black. Let's go now. And just to stand out, we'll go a little bit pink. Alright, this is no fill color. We'll see what this thing does. Alright, so we can do a circle. We can do weird stuff. Alright, we can do a square. If you want to label something, you can. That's what this is for, right? Is you want to draw stuff, label stuff, that's what you can. And so you can also go to this next one. So this one is a select, right? We can drag stuff when we're at this select. We can, like this one, oops, I guess it lets us type as well, but it lets us drag stuff around. Then this one is text. So LAN 1, like if I'm labeling a local area network 1, there we go. So that's how we do that. Want to delete stuff? Whatever we clicked on last, if we click delete, it'll try to delete it. So usually I click no. So then when we have this X, we can delete whatever we want, except for these apparently. Nope, we can still delete them. It was just lagging a little bit, or you have to click them right. I don't know where that one's going. No, it doesn't want to. It doesn't want to be removed. All right, so there, finally I got it. The zoom. I don't know. I've never used that in my life. Anyways, so that is our first part. This packet, we'll go over that in a little bit. It lets you do a ping down here. This is real time, means stuff's live action. This is simulation. It lets you see traffic as it goes across. This is probably why they call it packet tracer. And so you auto capture that packet across, like when we do this packet like this. We can even select the type of traffic it is. This is something more advanced, but we can watch how the traffic changes, where it goes as it goes along the way in simulation mode. But back to real time, where we're at now. So down here, as we open it, all these things right here, we have some numbers. So we have 1941, 2901. Let's just start throwing them out there. And as you can see, I've had some other routers in there, so they're not labeled quite right, but you get the view that these are all routers, hopefully. This circle icon with the arrows inside means router in Cisco, and usually it's a circle with something in every networking topology you could do. So we have that, right? And what does that actually mean? Well, let's bring our friend Cisco over here. And so the numbers that we were seeing, let's see if we can find any of them. Oops. Products and services. Let's see if I can navigate this website. We are looking for routers. So let's see if we can find routers. Right there. I passed it. They've updated them, so we're probably not going to see the right products because it's more of a 40 or 4000 series than our 29 series. It's kind of dead, right, as you can see. But we have these older routers. Well, maybe the 1000 series might still have a 1900 in it. Let's see. Models. View models in comparison, because we just want to see the models. Nope, they're 1000. Okay, so we're out of luck in that. But if you go into the classroom, we still have 2900s. series routers, which have now been replaced by these beautiful black 4000 series and apparently 800 series. And they look a little something like this, but they don't look that much different than our 29s. But anyways, most of the routers inside are 2911s, which was this one. I think this was router 5. If we want to see them, we can kind of see pieces of them here. What this is the back of this router, right? Because this is actually, what type of router is this? Let's see. We can go through here and figure it out, and it's a 1941. I'm seeing that here, Cisco 1941 K9. And so there you go. That's one way of using the CLI. So this is what we're going to see when we first load in. What this is doing right now is actually simulating a console cable. And so we're going to go to this. So these are computers, right? So if we click right here, we went from network devices to computers. And so our choices of computers, I wish my screen down there would go down. What is going on here? All right. So we throw a computer in typically when we're setting up this device, and we come here and we grab, I believe it's the blue cable. Yep, console. See, if we look right here where my thing comes up, octal, that's whichever one we're selected on, it tells us what kind of cable it is. So automatically choose connection type, blah, blah, blah. Copper straight through, copper crossover, fiber, phone, coaxial, serial DCE, serial DTE, octal, IOE custom cable, USB. Okay, so we're going to take the console. And so the console, what it does is it plugs into the serial. And the serial is also known as an RS-232. So we plug one side into that. We plug the other into what's called the console. So a console cable, in Cisco, they're always blue. Other vendors make them in different colors, but they're always serial to RJ45. And they stem from the history of a no modem serial cable or something like that. But these ones are Cisco, I can tell by the color, right? And they look a little bit like this. One side is serial, one side is our RJ45. We used to make what's called a rolled cable, and we would have a serial adapter that would just be RJ45 on both ends, but now they just give them to you, and they're actually a short distance. They I don't know, 3 feet. So you usually program this on your desk. And so what's going to happen is you would go in there, you throw open your little computer, and typically you wouldn't see this. You'd be on your desktop, and your desktop wouldn't look this pretty. You'd probably go to something like this. It's called PuTTY. And you have this serial right here, so you could select that serial. How we do that on Packet Tracer is that is a terminal emulator. So we pop up this terminal emulator and look at it. Very conveniently has already set our baud rate and everything we need, and we can just click OK and look at that was the same screen right here. It says, do you want to initially configure this? You never say yes here. Yes is for people that are not studying Cisco, and so you say no because you want to do it all by command line because we love it. So you do that. But another way on Packet Tracer to get there, in case you don't want to do all that stuff, and sometimes you have to on graded assignments, is by just clicking CLI on whatever device. But anyways, that's what we see there. This, we only see the back because that's where everything important is. This slot here is called a HWIC slot. As you can see over here, we have HWIC cards. HWIC just means WAN interface card, high-speed WAN interface card. And so we can take, when we click over here on our modules, this is a 2T, so this shows us 2T, 4ES, this is which just means a switching model for a router, don't worry about that now. 8A, I don't know what that is. WIC cover, so we can cover our WICs. Oh, but they're powered on. We don't work on a router unless powered up. As you can see, there's a power button, so we turn that thing off. Now we can cover our WICs. If we want to put another one in, put 2T in. All right, that just gives us WAN interfaces. So we have that. We can see our interfaces that we will have. Right here we have an auxiliary, which you guys have learned about, a console, which I just plugged into, and you'll see these on real devices. This is an image of a real device, right? So you can zoom in, and we can go over here, right, and see the console. When we have two LAN interfaces, which is what you guys are learning about right now, so that's what you're going to typically use. GE01 and GE00, right, and some USBs. So that's what we see on that 1941, and it's deleted. All right, so now what do we have here? Once again, we can look. Why is there another 1941 out there? All right, I'm looking for. Are these all loading in as a Cisco? Let's make sure these aren't messed up. 2901, 2911. Let's see. And this is what we would see when we start a device, a network device. Gives us all these hashtags, and then it loads here. It typically isn't that fast. Now we can see these are 2911, so I just pulled out a bunch of 1941s by accident. I apologize. And what a 2911 looks like, same as what are in my classroom. You can look here. This is the front. The reason they show it on this one and not the 1941 is the power switch is right there. Okay, it has more HWIC cards. It's a 2U device, meaning that it takes up 2 rack spots. But anyways, zoom in. You can take a look at these. Yay, Wix, and then we have that. So same deal. So those are what routers are, right? They label themselves as routers, hopefully for you. Then we can go to the cabling, right? And let me see if I can find 2911. Cisco 2911. All right, images. Here's a 2911 for those of you who can't take it. All right, looks like that in the back. That's kind of what we saw. That in the front. So very similar to our packet tracer. And it is a router. And so another way we can tell a router from a switch is Cisco switches say Cisco Catalyst, whereas routers are Cisco and a number. Cisco Catalyst and a number. Okay, so we have these routers. If you want to change the name on that, you can go to config. Don't go in here. This is easy mode. I hate this tab. But if you get in big trouble, you can do that. Like if you can't remember how to do something, it'll show you the commands as you type them here. Like if you want to do something in the interface, you can do it there, and it'll type it down here. Don't use this. Just don't use this. You're never gonna. You don't have that in real life. Use the CLI. Okay. So anyhow, there we go. We have that. So now let's get to the cables. So first one, console, done. We saw it. So next one, copper straight through. This is what you guys are used to. This is going to be like in Ethernet, Cat 5, Cat 6. And so we plug that in. So what that looks like, right? Your normal home computer, right? You guys have made these cables probably in there. So that's our copper straight through. And copper straight through, what it means is, if we look at this, it switches the pairs up. Cat 4. What? Straight through. Sorry about that. Apparently can't type. If you look here, in a straight through, that's not a straight through. Or a straight through, I told you wrong. That's a crossover. Anyways, straight through, they're all the same. I don't know why it's showing red. It should be brown. But, right, so on both sides, they're the same. And it doesn't actually have to be this color code as long as all the pins match up on both sides. Then it works, right? Unless it's a crossover. Crossover, they switch up. And where we use a crossover is between like devices. So, and actually a computer and a router are a layer 3 device, so they use a crossover, but that is a confusing example. So we're going to do it a little bit different. Next thing we're going to pull out is switch 2960. So 2960 switch, it looks like that. And you'll find those in the classroom. They're replaced with 2960 X's, and how we know a switch from a router, right, is that the switch has way more ports than a router. Remember that router only had 2, maybe 3. 2911 has 3. Plus it's HWIX, so you could add more. But, I mean, it's not going to have 24 unless it's an ISP router or something. Okay, so 2960, we can find it again, 2960, because look there, C2960. And this is the image loading on it. Anyhow, so we could go back to our cables and we take our computer and go to the fast Ethernet because, well, we know that's what RJ45s plug into. We plug in the RJ45 over here and it goes orange. And you're saying, well, that's weird. Why would it go orange? That's annoying. Well, it is annoying. What it is this thing, if we had, it's called spanning tree, and it stops a layer 2 loop so that if we plug a bunch of layer 2 devices, such as three switches, and I better use a crossover because they're like devices. So I put a crossover here, put a crossover here, put a crossover here, put a crossover here. That's running an algorithm. That orange thing, see how it turned green? It will turn green, but it'll stop a loop. So right here, one of these is going to turn red. And it's going to be blocked on one side so that traffic doesn't just keep going around in a loop, right? So that's what the orange is, a spanning tree protocol, stopping layer 2 loops. So I'll let that play out. It typically comes up it's supposed to come up in 45 seconds or less if we're doing a fast spanning tree. Packet Tracer wants to emphasize this, so it takes 60. And as you can see, it's blocking over here. And we can run CLI commands that we haven't used yet and say enable. Actually, let's go full commands. Enable, show spanning tree. And show spanning tree says that port is blocked, stopping it from being locked. But that's ahead of you in CCNA. This isn't a CCNA 1 thing. But I'm just doing an overview of this. So, anyways, that's what that is. So then you ask, well, what the heck's going on over here? So we have another problem over here. This one's green, which means traffic's flowing across. Just like you can think about this. This actually happens in real life. If you have spanning tree on, when you first plug in the port, it goes orange and then it goes green and traffic flows across it. And so you can look on the back of your computer and you have a green light and an orange light, right? And if the green light's blinking, you probably have traffic going across. So this one's red, meaning traffic's not working. This port's dead. In real life, you just wouldn't get a light. But that's what Packet Tracer is showing you, is there is no light. And so what we need to do is say no, and let's see. What port did we plug it into? Hopefully G00. So we say enable, turn that thing on. CompT, interface, gigabit, 00, no shutdown. Or turn the thing on. All right. And that wasn't it. So we're going to up arrow and go into the other interface and say no shutdown. And there it goes. So it's green on one end because the router isn't layer 2. It's not doing spanning tree calculation, so it doesn't care. The switch is layer 2 device. So that's that part of Packet Tracer. And is there anything else interesting in there? Not really. Okay, so we have computers, and if you look through computers, you have laptops and phones that you can put in there. Typically, use a desktop or a computer. I don't know what these home things are. If you guys want to mess with them, they're all new. Smart City, what the heck? Battery, CO2 detector. Wow, it's built for the Internet of Everything, so all your home devices apparently are equipped. Smoke detector, smart LED, siren. Huh. Good times. Power grid. Wow, light. Okay, so that's that. So let's go back to our cables and we will look through some more. So we have copper crossover, which just switched up for those like devices. Our next cable we have is fiber. So fiber looks like this. All right, so fiber can look like a lot of things. Lights going through the ends of it. It's either LED or glass, which you guys know But we have different ends. Like these ones are LC ends. These are LC as well. Let's see if we can find some SC. I thought I had some SC. There's an SC end. See how it's bigger? That's an SC end. I think there's a standard twist. Nope. How do I go? All right. So over here, that's a standard twist going to an LC. Anyways, those are fiber, right? So, and that's what that cable is representing, is fiber. Let's see, what's our next one? Phone cable. That's just RJ11, right? Coaxial. Coax, hopefully you know from cable. Looks like that. And that's what those cables are. Typically, you're just going to use straight through or crossovers, and we're just going to connect them. Sometimes serial. Actually, let's pull out the serial in this case. Need to get another browser up here. So, serial cable. No, let's go serial DTE. All right, so there's two ends to internet serial cables, DTE and DCE. As you can see them right there. They aren't necessarily, oh, that's not it. But anyways, they're not like this. The small side doesn't have to be the DTE and blah, blah, blah. But one side is a DTE and one side is a DCE. One side controls the speed. But these are different. There's different versions of serial cables. And they're also known, they power T1s and that kind of thing. And they suck, if you want to know the truth. So, T1s, T3s. So that's what those cables are. And you have to put an HWIC to do them, and they connect routers typically, but we don't have HWICs in there, so we can't even plug them in. So if we did want to, we would power this off and put a 2T in there, and we would put another, power this one off, throw a 2T in there, power it back on, power this one back on. Nope. I can tell because the interfaces are down, so we fire that bad boy back up. We grab one end of our serial, put it in the serial, go over here. As you can see, these are off because we didn't save our configuration, so they're not going to turn back on automatically. It's back into default mode, but that's what we're seeing in PackTracer there. I don't know. What else? What else do we use? Switch, hubs. I'm going to never throw that in there. Wireless devices. We're not going to talk about that. This is a Cisco security appliance called an ASA 5505, also end of life. But, I mean, they're all great experiences. Anyhow, that's my general go over of PacketTracer. If you guys, if you want anything else, let me know and I can do a little bit different video on that. Anyways, let me know.